So I messed up, y'all. I went to bed way too early, woke up just a few minutes before midnight. And so now I'm up around 4 a.m. and I'm sitting here in the studio recording this because while I'm sitting here in my office, scrolling through YouTube instead of dreaming weird ass dreams, I come across this video just recently, just within the last, 25 minutes or so, released by a YouTuber that I respect, Chisha Zed. One of the more respectful and level-headed voices in the Red Pill community. And what I mean by respectful, I mean respectful towards women. So I know that there is a lot of negative things that are said about what men have to say in Red Pill spaces. This TSP, I guess you would say, we're in alignment with many of the principles in the Red Pill space. But anyway, Cheech is a really good YouTuber that really tries to bring logic to a lot of these conversations. And he just released a video. And, instead of me sleeping like I'm supposed to, I'm up reviewing this because I think that it really does spawn a very interesting conversation. Do women prefer unhappy men? And if so, why? So without further ado, let's get into it.
Women are disgusted with happy men. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
So this study shows women find happy men the least attractive. In this study, there were male and female participants, and they were each asked to rate the opposite sex on a scale of 1 to 10, based off the emotions that they displayed, such as happiness, pride, shame, and neutral. And these were the results. For men, happiness being displayed gave you the lowest rating. Pride gave you the highest. Shame was higher than happiness and higher than neutral.
So one of the things you'll also notice on this graph is that men generally rate women higher than women rate men, which we already know from all of the data gathered from the Tinders and the OkCupids that women generally view men more harshly than men view women. But when you look at the breakdown here in this particular study, you see that it appears that men really like to see women in their happiest states. And that's where they rate the women the highest, as you can tell by this data point way up here, right above his head, right? And, going back, a frame or two, you can tell here, this little point right here at the bottom, that women tend to not be very happy when they see that a man is happy. And obviously, as men, we value peace. Some of us will mess with the wrong woman to get some sort of sexual experience that we would like to have. But by and large, we do what we can, what's necessary to maintain peace as much as possible in our lives. So to know that women would really much rather us not have peace according to what they're attracted to, definitely some cause for consternation. We'll let him continue.
Happiness and higher than neutral. And just in case you thought it was because of those specific pictures, they used over 400 different photos. And they repeated the test several times and got the same results. This was the second sample. This was the third. And to highlight what men found most attractive, they rated happiness the most attractive and pride the least attractive on women. What do you think about this?
Wow, that's really interesting. This kind of proves another study, right, that I remember reading about, where when asked what number one attribute that men liked about a good potential spouse, or a woman for any type of long-term relationship. The number one thing is they just wanted the woman to be nice. And people don't usually associate somebody who's highly, or a woman who's highly prideful. Men in specific don't usually associate women who are highly prideful with being nice. Interesting video. I thought this was an interesting topic.
And it's really interesting that he mentions this, because it's something that I've said on this platform, I've said on other platforms. There is a myth that men do not like, or they're not attracted to, or don't want to be with women who are successful in secular environments. And I believe that men really don't care very much one way or the other. I would assume that for most men, seeing that a woman is successful at something is not going to be something that turns us off. The issue tends to be that when women do reach some level of success, they then use that to have this position of dominance or leverage, or I'm better than you, anything you can do, I can do better, and that kind of thing. Men tend to not want to deal with people on an intimate level that's constantly trying to compete with them or trying to get that one up on them. So again, the success is not the issue. It is the demeanor that you carry when you achieve what you believe to be success. And that is shown evident here. Men, generally are less attracted to women who are full of themselves.
What did you guys think? What are your reactions to this? Why you think this is this way? As always, the internet did react to this. Let's check out this comments and see what the people have to say. First comment here comes from a gentleman and it reads, "Can't fix a happy man." That's deep. That's very, very deep. And I think all women want to help a man improve himself. It's part of their nurturing characteristic. I think it falls underneath that umbrella term. It's like, I want to help this guy get better. Let's check out more of these comments. Next comment here in response to the guy who said, "Can't fix a happy man." This guy says, "Hard to control him too." I don't know if that's necessarily true. If it's hard to control a happy man.
I'm going to come right out and say it. Yeah, it is. It's difficult to control a happy man. A guy that is satisfied, who is content, there's not going to be a whole lot that you can do, that you can hold over his head to get him to do what you want him to do. I can tell you from even when I was single to when I was in a monogamous relationship and now in a plural relationship, when I'm good, I really don't give a shit what it is that you've got going on. I've had women try to use their nether regions to try to get me to do things that I didn't want to do, and they didn't get done. But when I had very low self-esteem, when I was not in my right frame of mind, I did some pretty heavy simping. So obviously my experience is anecdotal, but it is something that easy to see in the course of observing men dealing with women on any given day.
I would think it's harder to control somebody who is more difficult, disagreeable, and would be less happy. Another comment here, next comment reads, "When his happiness stems from himself, she isn't needed. Thus, she has no power/control over him. Can exploit those you have no power over."
This is very interesting. This is one of the comments that I found to be pretty interesting because it reminds me of the trope that men feel like they need to be needed, so that, when a woman says, "I don't need a man, I want a man," and men are less attracted to her for that, it kind of reminds me that this is the inverse of that. And then I have to start asking myself questions like, is this really a game of leverage between her needing to govern his sources of happiness and his need to govern her source of survival. And how natural is it for a man to want to dictate a woman's survival and a woman to want to dictate a man's happiness, and then you have this symbiotic relationship that that stems out of these two tenets. I wonder if there really is something to this. I think that a lot of times when a man steps outside of his relationship, a lot of the times the women are upset not necessarily because of any kind of betrayal, but I really do believe that many of the time it is that he went out there and he had pleasure, and she was not the cause of that pleasure. When women complain about men going out and having fun, hanging out with their friends, they have it's not to the same degree, but the spirit of the reaction is kind of in that same vein. So I think that there might be something to this, and I really do wonder if that really is the leverage game that men and women play.
Comment down below if you guys agree. Next, this comment says, for real, they think themselves Bob the Builder or something. Yeah, like I said, nobody can fix anybody. Women do, in a sense, want to be part of a man's redemption story. They want to be part of that man improving. But in most cases, what do we see?
But it is weird, though. It's interesting that he said this. You know, women want to be part of the building story, but at the same time, you see so many of these women waiting at the finish line to pick the winners because they don't want to go through the struggle. Oh, we're not going to do this struggle of stuff. Oh, I want a man that got his ish together. You hear that a lot. So, that's an interesting one.
If we're going to be honest, we see men who have no plan of getting better. It's the woman who's attracted to the bum, who's living off her. She's working, she's complaining he doesn't have a job, and she labels all men as trash. That's what's common a lot of the times. This next commenter says, why don't you smile on your pictures? In quotation marks. Another person here says, we can't have happiness? Bruh, this is why when they start stuff out of nowhere, when we just enjoying ourselves alone or do nothing.
I've heard a lot of men complain about this. I've been with the same two women for over a decade. The first of those women, you see her on our MMA live streams. We've been together. Next April will be 17 years. Even in the bad relationship I had before that, because I was, 19, 20 years old at the time. The girl that I was with then, she wasn't like that either. So, I mean, it might have more to do with how I choose women. But this is not something that I can identify with, but I can tell you that I've heard a lot of guys complain about this. Could never be me, though. I couldn't be with a chick that, does shit tests and all that stuff. I don't have the tolerance for it. So I tend not to have women like this around me. But maybe, the women that you guys are chasing, they want to be attracted to you. So they have to do things that make you attractive to them, which is you being in a foul mood.
This guy's like, man, so this is why they start shit. Oh, women start shit because they're emotional creatures. It will happen with any woman that you
Men are emotional creatures.
It's not that you can't be happy. I think at the core, a woman is looking for a man who can protect and provide. I think this falls into that protection category. And the happiest people in this world are bliss. Bliss to danger. Bliss to how terrible this world can be or really is. And a guy who just comes across like almost childlike in his understanding of the world is not as attractive to a woman as a guy who's more stoic and understands the gravity of how serious life can get. Doesn't mean you have to be a down, sad person necessarily. Got nothing.
Now, this is what inspired me to do this video this morning. This is the part that really got me thinking while I was searching for my icy in the freezer that is gone. Come on, stop eating my shit. All right, ladies, come on. this is really the thought that made the most sense to me, because it can't be that women are bad and evil. We don't do that here on this platform. We don't believe in it. There had to be something practical why things are the way they are. And this was the thought that really got to me, because it got me thinking, a guy with a smile on his face, who is he protecting? And when you look at somebody, you want to see the traits that we are all, it's kind of like biologically engineered to look for in our mates. And how many smiling guys do you see at the office? How many guys do you see smiling in professional sports? How many guys do you see smiling doing anything of consequence in the world? When a man is out there and he is protecting someone, how many smiles do you see while he's doing what he's doing? So it's a cold world, y'all. I mean, this is the home of the cold truth as well as the hot take. And this is definitely one of those cold truth guys. Obviously, we want to be happy, and we should be happy as long as we are productive. But we have to understand that when ladies make their choices, they're looking for traits that are conducive to their survival. And our happiness is not necessary for a woman's survival. It just isn't. And so many guys have chose to go the black pill route or the red pill route. The black pill route says, I'm not going to deal with women at all. And the red pill route says, I'm only going to deal with women on my terms for my own benefit. And it's difficult to argue with either one of those things, but I'm going to try anyway. I think that you can find women that will at least be tolerant of your happiness. I think that we also have standards where we're looking for different traits in women that are pretty arbitrary for the woman that we want to choose long term. We talk about women's body count on a regular basis. We talk about the ratio of the circumference of her waist comparable to her hips, her bust, her symmetry in her face. All of these different things. We have our standards too, don't we, guys? So they have their standards, and like it or not, their standards are based upon our utility, and our utility as it pertains to their chances of survival. This is why the taller guys, the more muscular guys, the guys who are, display the pseudo-masculine qualities, this is why guys like that are successful. But in the comment section down below, I want to know what you got from this study, what you got from that little graph where they plotted the attractiveness levels, men preferring happy, humble women, and women preferring prideful, unhappy men. Leave it down in the comments section below. Also, let us know what your experiences have been with women. Have you been provoked into being unhappy seemingly out of nowhere? Has that been your experience? You have any examples of those experiences? Definitely leave them in the comment box below. As always, we would like you to help us with our goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers before the end of 2022. We've got about 4 weeks left. So we'd like you to hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps us. Hit that like button. Helps us in the algorithm. We want to bring more content like this and other subjects, but we can only do it if we can see the kind of growth that would make putting the time and effort into this project lucrative enough to continue doing it and to improve the quality of the output. Until next time, see you later.